Why does no one talk about the real reason it's difficult to stick with new habits? If you're trying to build a new habit, but you just can't seem to be consistent, you may be surprised to know it has nothing to do with willpower or discipline. I'm a psychologist, so obviously I have a PhD in helping people change their mindsets and create behavioral change. And in this episode, I want to share with you the truth about habit forming and give you tangible strategies and techniques to make your habits actually stick. So if you're new here, I'm Dr. Tiffany Shelton Mariel. I'm a neuropsychologist, published author, and founder of the Mod Ambition Planner. I post every week on this channel about how to plan, manifest, and enjoy your dream life. So please tap that subscribe button so you don't miss out when I post every single week. I want you to tune into this episode to learn practical and easy strategies that are going to help you lean into healthy habits and show up for yourself on a daily basis. In order to understand the strategies I'm going to share with you, it's important to understand the psychology behind behavioral change. Anytime you embark on building a new habit, like waking up early, the most crucial determining factor in making the change is your mindset. You can use every tactic in the book, Atomic Habits, but if you don't have your mind made up that you want to make this change, it's just a failure waiting to happen. So the good news is we have research and tools that walk us through the various mindset stages of change, and there are ways to get your mind into the place that you're ready to create that new habit. So the key is knowing what stage you're in and then knowing what to do to move through the next stage to finally get to the point that you find your mind is so made up to sticking to that new habit, it's actually inevitable. So we will be using the stages of change model or the trans-theoretical model to help us understand these various mindset stages. And I want to read an excerpt from the Boston University School of Public Health about this model to give you a bit of context. So the trans-theoretical model, also called the stages of change model, developed by, I'm going to mess this up, Prochaska and DiClemente in late 1970s, evolved through studies examining the experiences of smokers who quit on their own with those requiring further treatment to understand why some people were capable of quitting on their own. It was determined that people quit smoking if they were ready to do so. Thus, the trans-theoretical model focuses on the decision-making of the individual and is a model of intentional change. So the TTM operates on the assumption that people don't just change behaviors quickly and decisively. Rather, change in behavior, especially habitual behavior, occurs continuously through a cycle process. So with that said, let's go through these stages and the strategies for each of these stages to help you get to the mindset of intentional change that will support your new habit. So I have created a free PDF that I'm going to be going through that details each stage that I'll be sharing with you and provides exercises and tools to help you at every stage, so you can get your copy at the link below. Okay, so the first stage is the pre-contemplation stage. So this is before you start contemplating actually making this change, this new habit. So the definition of this, which is provided by therapistaid.com, all these definitions, the cost of the problem behavior are not yet recognized. So the individual is in denial and is not seriously considering changing their behavior. They may have made previous attempts to change, but have since given up. So the goal for you at this stage is to consciously consider making the change. That's where you want to be if you're pre-contemplating. So if you're watching this video, it's likely that you are contemplating making a new habit. But let's say you tried to start working out and then you gave up and you might not be thinking about it. You're just kind of watching this video. Your goal would be to consciously consider making the change. And the exercise I have for you is to research all the benefits that creating your new habit will bring into your life and increase your awareness around how this change will help your life. So let's say, for example, for this video's sake, let's say you're trying to create the habit of waking up early. If you're in the pre-contemplation stage, what your goal is, you're going to consider making this change, and you're going to research all the benefits of waking up early and kind of think about how it would help your life, so you can increase your awareness about why why you want to make this change. The second stage is the contemplation stage, and it's defined as the individual is experiencing ambivalence about change. They can see reasons to change their behavior, but they're still hesitant, and the problem behavior continues. So you're contemplating change in this stage. You're kind of thinking about it. You're thinking about, yeah, it would kind of be nice to wake up early, or maybe your mom, and you're like, oh gosh, I see other people getting some time to themselves during the day, but I also really value my sleep. You're kind of thinking about it. And your goal to get to in this stage, if you're kind of ambivalent about whether you want to actually form this new habit, is to commit to making this change. So the exercise I have for you is to create a 4-box matrix. So you're going to have 4 squares. In the left 2 boxes, journal about the pros and the cons of creating this new habit. So the pros and the cons of creating the habit on one side. And then in the right 2 boxes, I want you to journal about the pros and the cons of not making this change. So in our example of waking up early, a pro of creating the habit of waking up early would be that you get to get more stuff done. A con would be that if you do wake up early, you're going to miss out on maybe a little bit of extra sleep. Potentially, if you go to bed earlier, you could get that sleep. And then the pros and cons of not making the habit. So the pro of not, I guess, waking up early is that you don't have to do any work. It's easier, you get to sleep in. And the con of not changing would be that you're missing out on all those yummy things you might get to do in the morning, and you're not really living according to how you want to because you're not doing those things. The next stage after you make this goal of committing to change is you're going to prepare. You're going to be in the preparation stage according to this research and this model. And that is defined as the individual has decided to change their behavior, and they begin to think about how to do so. During this stage, they'll begin to make minor changes to support their goal, but they might not have completely ended the unwanted behavior. So the goal is to come up with a strategy to create this new habit. Exercise I have for you is on a sheet of paper. I want you to write down your commitment to this new habit and write a detailed plan of how you'll make this change and begin implementing this new habit. So in our exercise of waking up earlier, your goal is going to come up with a strategy of how you're going to do that. How are you going to wake up earlier? And then on this sheet of paper, you would write down, I'm maybe going to buy a sunrise alarm. I'm going to reward myself when I do wake up early. I'm going to go to bed earlier. So you're going to write down your plan to actually making this happen. Okay, so once you've come up with the strategy, you move into the action stage, which is significant steps are taken to end the problem behavior. The individual might be avoiding triggers, reaching out for help, or taking other steps to avoid temptation. So that specifically speaks to if you're trying to end a bad habit like oversleeping and then starting this new habit of waking up early. So you're taking the action, and the goal is to begin taking action on this new habit. The exercise I have for you is to use habit forming techniques to support this new endeavor. So write down how you can make your habit easy and fun, then begin to track this habit so you can figure out what is working best and what's getting in the way, and that can support you to adjust along the way. So you're going to begin taking action essentially, and this is where you can apply all those things you learned in Atomic Habits. So this is where you're going to start applying those habit forming techniques. But the reason why I'm sharing all this information with you is you can't be ready for that action stage until you've gone through these other stages of contemplating it, preparing for it, making that decision to actually commit to change, all the goals we've talked about. And then once you've been able to do those exercises and you feel like you're at that action stage, your mindset is almost like this new habit is inevitable because you've made up your mind to do it. Kind of like the smokers in that example before. So in this exercise using habit forming techniques, write down how you can make it easy and fun. So in our example of waking up earlier, one way to make it easy would be to put your alarm across the room. One way to make it fun, for example, could be having your coffee, ready for you on a timer when you wake up, and listening to your favorite song when you wake up, rewarding yourself with something, that you like to eat or something like that. Just finding ways to make it pleasurable, make it easy to do. Tracking it is also a really important habit forming technique, and really noticing what's getting in the way of you doing it and what's helping you. So all those things are going to help you support that new habit once you've made up your mind, and this flow is going to help you make up your mind. And then the last stage is maintenance. So the changes made during the action stage are maintained. The individual may continue to face challenges, but at this point they have successfully changed their behavior for a significant period of time. The goal is basically just to maintain this new habit. So the exercise I have for you, if you feel like you're in the maintenance stage, is develop a maintenance plan once your new habit is actually habitual. Write out how you will maintain this new habit in the face of new situations or life challenges. Write down what will be your signs that you're off track and your plan for getting back on track should you relapse. So basically just coming up with a maintenance plan, putting some conscious thought into how you're going to maintain this new habit, what are you going to do in the face of challenges, and how are you going to know that you need to get back on track. That is the stages of change, this model, and I'm really, really hoping that it's going to help you build those new habits that you are wanting to create for your life. If you have any questions, of course, always leave them below, and I will be happy to help you in that process as well. I would love to end this episode by offering an intention for you this week. May you build new habits that support your dream life and freedom. If you like this episode, please follow the podcast or subscribe to my channel. And until next time, namaste.